Meanwhile, in Israel, thousands of people are up in arms against the controversial plan to overhaul the Israeli judicial system. And what is interesting is that today the Knesset voted to place two lawmakers on the Judicial Selection Committee. It has been traditional for the Knesset to select two lawmakers, one from the opposition and the other from the coalition, on the Judicial Selection Committee. But some coalition members wanted both seats to represent the government. After a high-stakes drama in the Knesset, one opposition candidate was selected, while another election is likely to take place in a month to select the coalition candidate. Israel, meanwhile, has witnessed weekly protests against the judicial overhaul. In a statement, the protest leaders have said that they are on an alert and are available to spring into action at a moment's notice. They also added that even if the opposition Karine El-Harar is selected, protests will continue as long as the threat of dictatorship in the state of Israel is not shelved. Now, the government's reform proposals will, of course, curtail the authority of the Supreme Court. It would give the politicians greater powers for the selection of judges. In the month of March, Prime Minister Netanyahu had announced a pause to allow for talks on reforms, which were moving through parliament and it split the nation. Netanyahu's government, which is a coalition between his Likud party and the extreme right and ultra-Orthodox Jewish allies, is pretty firm on the need for a judicial overhaul. The coalition government has argued that the proposed changes are needed to rebalance powers between the lawmakers and the judiciary. On the other hand, opponents of the plan believe that this could, of course, open the way to a more authoritarian government. And our correspondent Jody Cohen spoke to us about the latest developments on the selection of the lawmakers and the protests in Israel. Listen in to what she had to say.
After a tense day, one position on the Judicial Selection Panel has been filled. That's by Karine El-Harar from the opposition. Remember, the opposition had threatened to pull out of the judicial reform negotiations if their candidate wasn't elected. The coalition candidate Tali Gottlieb wasn't elected. She wasn't in fact the agreed candidate from the coalition, but rather a Likud MP who refused to withdraw her candidacy. The vote against her means that there will be another vote in 1 month's time for the coalition's candidate. Former Justice Minister Gideon Saar from the National Unity Opposition Party is now calling for a pause in the talks until the second candidate has been elected, suggesting the protests must continue.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.